can you provide one or two sonar or coding standards you follow while you are implementing the changes? What kind of rules you take care?
Yeah, null pointer exceptions. So wherever there is any possibility of raising null pointer exception, so we use there is a null condition we will add. Okay, and duplicate variable is, if it is the declared in the class level as well as in the method level, so those things it will point out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in Java, you are using Java 8, right?
Yes.
We do have multiple features in Java 8, but
Yes.
most frequently we use around 8 or 10 features, right? Yeah. Can you just give brief information, like what's the usage of the feature also?
Mainly Java 8 has introduced these functional interfaces concepts. So to enable the functional programming. So as all the programming languages are enabled with functional programming. So Java also has introduced this concept. So these functional interfaces we can write it, we can implement it using the lambda expressions, and also Java has provided some predefined functional interfaces like predicate, function, consumer and supplier, and also Java 8 they have introduced streams concept, so where we can iterate through the collection of elements as a group. Double colon operator also they have introduced in the Java 8, and default methods in the interface, and also static methods, so we can provide it in the interface.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Srinivas, sorry. So let's take a scenario. In Java 8, interfaces support static and default methods. And we do have diamond problem in Java. Multiple inheritance with classes not be possible, right?
Yes.
So JVM gets ambiguity.
Yes.
So let's take a scenario. Two interfaces we have. Interface 1, interface 2.
Okay.
Okay. And both have same method. Method name is same.
Okay.
Signature is same.
Okay.
Those are default methods, not abstract methods.
Okay.
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 So one class is there, which is child for two interfaces.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So class C or C1 implements interface 1, interface 2. As both parents have same method, and which are default methods, again the class gets ambiguity.
Yes.
Is there any fix available in Java 8?
No, not sure.
Yeah, that's fine. We have colon operator, method reference.
Yes.
Right? Which type of methods we can apply? Static or instance?
Static methods, and also instance method also.
Got it. Yeah. And coming to streams API, we have multiple intermediate methods and terminator methods, right?
Yes.
We have filter method is there, map method is there.
For each
what's the differences between filter and map methods?
Yeah, so filter will take input as predicate, and map.
Okay.
Map takes input as function.
Okay.
Yeah.
So internally, how those differentiated, function or predicate?
Yeah. So predicate. Predicate takes some input and returns a Boolean value. Okay. And whereas function takes input and also can return any.
Hello.
Yeah, actually, so there was a power cut. It has disconnected.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah,
you were saying that.
Predicate takes some input argument and returns the Boolean value, and whereas function takes some input argument and returns any kind of value. Yeah, it can be Boolean, number, anything. Yeah.
So coming to this Hashmap internal implementation.
Yes.
So what's the default size of map and how it increases?
Yeah, default size is 10, I guess. So whenever 75% of the Hashmap is filled, right? So it will double.
Srinivas, if initial size is 10, 75% means 7.5. So how the decimal size would be considered?
75%.
Yeah. So what's the initial size?
I think 10.
Yeah. So from the 10 initial size, 7.5%, 75% in the sense 7.5, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how the size decimal variable will be considered?
I think it will take the floor of that 7.5.
Means 8.
Floor
or 7.
7.
Okay. Not seen. Okay. I got it.
Yeah.
And coming to this internal implementation, so what is hash collision and when it occurs? what happens when that occurs?
Hashmap, how it works is, so whenever we are adding elements to the hashmap, right? So it will generate the hash code of that key, and then based on the hash code, it will find the bucket, and there it will store that element. So if the two keys have the same hash code, right? Then it will go to the same bucket. So this is where hash collision happens.
Yes. What happens when hash collision happens?
So yeah, it will store those same elements in. It will store those elements in the same bucket using the linked list.
Okay. So my first key is ABC. Value is 1 1. Okay. Second key is CAB. Value is 2 2.
Okay.
So ABC, CAB both have same hash code. Okay.
Okay.
So they will be stored into like linked list, and two buckets, like one bucket, different linked list, they are stored. Okay.
Yeah.
And the third entry is ABC. Value is 3 3. Okay. So I already have ABC 1 1.
Yeah. So
earlier.
it will replace the value of that ABC wherever it finds that key ABC, right? So it will replace the value with the new one.
Yeah, both have same hash code. So why it will replace and why it doesn't replace earlier? How it determines whether I need to replace, whether I need to add?
It will find whether that key exists in that bucket. Okay. If it finds
how?
using the equals method,
Okay.
compare content
Okay.
comparison. It will do. Yeah.
Got it. So how about inserting null key?
Null key, yeah, it's possible. It's possible in Hashmap, but only one key. Yeah, only one null key we can have.
So how it would be inserted? Hash collision generates.
Yes, and then it will find the bucket based on that.
Null dot hash code gives null pointer exception, right?
Okay. Yeah, I think Hashmap doesn't store null keys.
Okay. So if I add null, comma, some 1 2 3 4 5. So what I'll get? Do I get compilation, runtime error, warning? What I'll get?
Yeah, runtime error we will get like null pointer exception.
Okay. So how Hashmap is different from concurrent Hashmap internally?
Concurrent Hashmaps is introduced in 1.7. So Hashmap is not thread safe actually. And whereas concurrent Hashmap is thread safe, so multiple threads can access the data. Okay, so here in the concurrent Hashmap, only the bucket will be logged instead of locking the whole Hashmap. It will only log the bucket.
So what happens if multiple threads access at a time in the Hashmap?
Yeah, while reading there is no problem. Because we are not modifying any data, but while updating anything, right? So it will log that bucket, okay? So that other threads will wait for the releasing that other thread, okay?
Okay. So while writing, if multiple threads are accessing, so what happens in the Hashmap?
Yeah, that bucket will be logged until the updation of the element, okay? Until the updation of that element.
Will it go to deadlock, or do I get any error, exception?
No, will not get any exception because concurrent Hashmap is supposed to handle multiple threads, right? It's a thread safe.
In normal Hashmap, I'm asking.
Oh, in normal Hashmap. Okay, in normal Hashmap, we don't get any exception, but the data will be inconsistent. Let's say some thread is updating some value for the key. Okay, so another thread comes and that is also updating the same key. Then we will get the data inconsistent. We will not get the exact output, right?
I need some program. Can you share your screen? A notepad.
Okay.
Yeah. So you no need to write class name, that boilerplate code. Okay. So take a map. Both key and values are string. Yeah, no need to initialize. Both key and values are string type. Assume in this HM object, we added some 20 entries. Okay. We already added it. You no need to add. Okay. We added some 20. Now I want to sort this map based on value sorting order. So after sorting, I will print the map. Keys can be in any order, but values I want to be sorted.
The ascending in the alphabetical order only, right?
Yeah. Can you explain the code inside the sorted method?
Yeah. So sorted will take the comparator as an argument, right?
Yeah.
Function. So that is a functional interface. So we can use the lambda expression to represent the functional interface implementation. So this is we are having this compare method implementation here. This is first object and this is the second object. So we are comparing it with the second object. So let's say first we are getting let's say 20 sorry, it is string, right? Let's say Srinivas and then it's Kiran. Okay, so first we are getting the Srinivas. As it is a first element, it will automatically get inserted. So when we get the Kiran, right, so the Srinivas will be compared with the Kiran. So if it is less than 0, right, then it will return -1. Otherwise, I mean, if it has to be inserted in the before, then it will return -1, and if it has to be inserted in after right side, then it uses balanced tree, right? So if it has to be inserted in the right side, then it will return +1. If it equals, right, then it will return 0. Okay, so
where this compare to method comes from?
This is coming from the comparable interface. So string class implements this comparable interface. We are overriding that in the string class.
Okay. You can stop the screen share, Srinivas. Yeah, this call will end in 9 minutes, but that's not a problem. We can rejoin the same call. Okay. Coming to Spring, what are the modules you are?
Spring.
Yes.
Spring, dependency injection. Okay. Spring Core we are using, and also web services. Spring MVC I have used, and currently we are using Springboot and Spring JDBC also I have worked on. I think sometime back I worked on Spring logging also.
Coming to Spring IOC, how many types of dependency injection Spring supports?
There is setter injection, constructor injection are available. So setter injection, it uses the setter method to apply the value. I mean, assign the values. And whereas constructor injection will use constructor of that class to inject that bean.
Okay. Do you know circular dependency injection in Spring? No. Circular dependency. So okay.
Maybe and, A is dependent on the B and B is dependent on the A. Is that kind of thing?
Correct. So we have two dependency injection, right? Setter and constructor.
Yes.
Which injection will give this situation? Got it. Coming to bean scopes, can you explain what are the bean scopes available?
Yes, singleton prototype we have. So singleton, so only once it will create that bean and store it in the IOC container. So wherever we are needing that bean, right, it will inject that. So whereas prototype, it will every time it will create that object.
So if I want to create my own singleton class, what are the steps I need to consider?
So we need to make the constructor as private so that no other classes can create the object for this. And we can take one static variable and create it in that class. And we can create one static method. We can create one static method, and there we can have this check like if it is null. If that object variable is null, then we will create the object and return it. Otherwise, we will return the variable if it is already created.
Okay. And coming to controller side, do you use RESTful web services?
Yes.
Okay. So let's consider a scenario. We have REST application like service, normal service, and normal repository. So at controller layer, @controller I added, and service @service annotation. Repository side, it's a plain JDBC, no ORM I applied. @repository I added. So it's a login flow, and it is working fine. And I changed @repository to @service, and again I am running that same. So do I get any issue?
No, because those are the functionality is same actually. So because creates the bean and then injects it, I think no.
So what are the additional advantages of repository annotation?
Repository, yes. When we get exceptions in the DAO layer, right? So that will be converted into the Spring exceptions and it will rethrow it.
Okay. And coming to RESTful web services, can you provide annotations at method level, argument level? REST annotations only.
So at request mapping and at path variable, at request param, and it consumes, it produces,
Yeah.
and
So coming to this path variable and request param, can you explain the differences?
at path variable means, so in the URL itself we will be providing the value, dynamic value, but request param means these are request parameters. So after the question mark we will give that, right, key and value pairs that will be taken into this request param variable.
Yeah. So I have a endpoint. It has both path variable and request param.
Okay.
I am trying to write the URL. Which one I need to put first?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Order. I am writing the URL. Which one I need to write first? Path variable or request param?
Path variable we need to
Okay. So what is the default behavior of a request param? Is it mandatory or optional to pass?
that is optional.
Can we control it? Can we make it mandatory?
No, sorry, that is mandatory. If we give the request param, that is mandatory.
Okay. Can we make it optional?
Yeah, there is one annotation we can provide. So we can get all the query parameters into as a map. We can get that.
Okay. So we can control. You mean? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And coming to this REST and HTTP method, can you explain that idempotent and non-idempotent methods and the behavior?
This will update something at the server side.
I mean, we do have multiple HTTP methods, right?
Yeah. Put, post. These are idempotent. Not sure.
Yeah, that's fine. Database, coming to MongoDB. So does Mongo support joins?
No. This is no relational database. So we won't be having any relationships between any connections.
So how the data would be managed?
Yeah. So let's say
We need relation-related data.
Yeah, so we need to create one more collection where we have to store the both IDs, both that. Let's say two tables are interrelated. Okay, so we can create one more extra collection. There we can store these two IDs.
Got it. Can you share your screen? I need some query.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, share that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can turn on your video also. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Let's take a collection collection, a MongoDB collection product. Assume it has Mongo generated primary key underscore ID. Okay.
Okay.
It has fields product ID, PID, name. I want a query, Mongo query, where product ID greater than 1000, and name contains ABC.
Okay.
And condition.
And the name contains.
Okay, RA, two letters, R and A, that's fine.
Okay.
I need a SQL query also. Okay.
Okay.
Take two tables. One is employee. Are you comfortable in SQL query? It has columns employee ID, name, salary. Another table is department. It has department ID or DID. You can write DID, DName. Department name. So two questions I have. Make a relationship between these two tables.
In the employee table, we can have this department ID stored also.
Correct. Yeah. So second question is, I need to find highest salary of each department. I need a query for that. Yeah. So in the result, I need a department name, the highest salary, two fields.
I'll just try, but I don't remember. But I'll just try. Okay.
Yeah. Just give it, right?
So I'm not getting.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
You can stop the screen share. Srinivas, have you involved in production support or production deployment activities for your previous applications also?
Yeah.
So have you involved in the deployment activity?
Yes.
So for current project, do you involve in that taking care of deployment activities?
No. So actually there is one separate DevOps team. They will be taking care of this. So they will create one some pipelines in the Spin Cloud. So this we use for deployment. So they will create the pipeline for every environment, and we will just need to start that deployment process. So it will automatically take the latest build from that Jenkins and deploy it into the.
Yeah. Srinivas, one question, like you wrote a code for sorting Hashmap based on values using comparator implementation function interface you implemented, right?
Yeah.
So also you said the compare to method is coming from comparable interface, which is implemented by string class. So can you explain the differences between comparable and comparator?
Yeah, so comparable is for natural sorting order. So and compared to, if you wanted to customize the sorting order as per our use, then we need to go for the comparator. Let's say we are storing some employee objects. Okay, so for that we need to write our custom ordering, right? Custom sorting order. So in that case, we will use the comparator.
Custom sorting order in the sense like we have employee class.
Yeah, let's say employee class. Let's say if you wanted to sort it by the salary.
Okay.
So then, we will create one comparator extending from the.
So what about natural sorting order means?
Natural sorting order means that is Java will provide that natural sorting order. Let's say for
natural in the sense ascending or descending would be sorting order. So natural sorting means.
Yeah. So in case of strings, it is like alphabetical order.
Correct.
Yeah. Right.
So in comparator, using comparator also we can achieve that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is natural sorting from comparable?
I mean, string clause is already has implemented that comparable. I mean.
Yeah. It's string I can understand, but. Comparable provides natural sorting order. Comparator provides customized sorting order. You said, right? So natural means either ascending or descending. Using comparator also we can sort ascending or descending.
Yeah.
What exactly? Where exactly they will be differentiated? Or you can take with an example also. Employee. Yeah, employee is there.
Let's
So
say.
for sorting, we use comparator. Why don't we use comparable?
Because employee is our defined class, our own defined class, right? Today I have implemented using comparable, and I have provided some sorting order using the ID. Okay. Let's say this class, some other team is using this class, and they wanted to have their own custom sorted order. Let's say by salary wise. So they need to implement the comparator and then override that comparator method, and they need to have their own custom logic, right? Custom sorting.
Okay. So can you explain what is anonymous inner class in Java?
So let's say there is an interface, right? So if we wanted to implement, so usually what we will do is we will take one more class and then implement it, and then that class we will use it in our classes, right? So instead of that, we can directly instead of implementing separate class, instead of using separate class for the implementation, there only wherever we are using, right? So there only we can have this anonymous inner block implement the logic there.
Srinivas, I am done with the interview. If you have any questions, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.